Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Wynna Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Businesses and the self-employed can receive payouts from the Employment Support Scheme as soon as next month. Emmanuel Macron vows to reunite France after winning 5 more years as president. And Elon Musk could soon be the new owner of Twitter as talks reach their final stages. Former law professor Benny Tai has pleaded guilty to 4 counts of illegal election spending. This came 6 years after he and 2 others attempted to use pre-election poll results to plan strategies for the 2016 Legislative Council elections. Johanna Chan reports.
Former law professor Benny Tai arrived to the Wan Chai District Court in a prison van this morning. The 57-year-old pleaded guilty to 4 charges of illegal election spending, related to the promotion of a voting strategy he'd come up with for the 2016 Legislative Council polls. Operation Thundergo sought to use pre-election and exit poll results to inform voters who was lacking ballots, in a bid to get as many seats as possible for the pro-democracy camp. Tai and 2 co-defendants, Ip Kim Ching and Sek Sao Ching, placed 6 ads on Ming Pao and Apple Daily through Ip and Sek's company, the Eggs Alliance. They had incurred over $253,000 in election expenses, while none of them were candidates. Today, Ip and Sek were released on a year-long bind-over order with a fine of $40,000, but Tai was not given the same. In mitigation, his lawyer, Randy Sheck, pointed out that the case was less serious than other misconduct cases, such as vote rigging. He argued Tai's actions did not cause unfairness or have a huge impact, like triggering a by-election. He said Tai was only hoping to find an efficient way for the opposition camp to get a better ratio of seats. Sheck also said the case's 5-year delay added to his client's burden. Ahead of sentencing, Judge Anthony Kwok agreed Tai's plan was not illegal, but had breached the law due to negligence. Kwok said the scheme involved a significant sum of illegal payments and affected many candidates. But he agreed dragging the case on for so long had affected Tai, and requested the prosecution hand over a written explanation on the process. Tai was remanded and will be sentenced on May 24th. Johanna Chan, HKIBC.
The second round of the Employment Support Scheme will start receiving applications this Friday. Authorities said more stringent measures will be in place to ensure the subsidies go into staff wages. Joanna Ho reports.
There's finally good news for businesses and self-employed persons hit hard by the 5th COVID wave. Starting on Friday, they can apply for the second round of the Employment Support Scheme. Under the new mechanism, companies can seek subsidies for up to 1,000 workers. Each full-time staff member will be reimbursed $8,000. Employees who earn more than $30,000 per month will also be eligible this time round, after the salary cap has been dropped. Part-timers and freelancers are also covered. Part-time workers will receive $4,000 for 3 months starting in May, while freelancers will get a one-off payment of $8,000. However, employers on a list of restricted sectors can only apply for 100 staff at most. They include supermarkets, pharmacies, medical groups, and other businesses whose impact was limited. Employers who have applied for the scheme in 2020 will be given 2 options. They can choose to submit their latest application using existing records, which means a faster payout. They can also update authorities if they have hired more staff, which means a larger subsidy, but the process may take longer. The government admitted around 1 in 5 employers who received subsidies last time did not pass on all of the money to their workers.
I would say that the situation is not that bad, but from the policy objective of protecting as many jobs as possible. We would like to put in place a heavier penalty to provide a stronger deterrent effect against any non-compliance.
The authority pledged to monitor employers' payment through MPF contribution records. Anyone who breaches the rules will be asked to pay back the subsidy in full on top of a 10% penalty. Applications must be completed online and will close on May 12. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's daily COVID cases remained below 500 for the second day in a row. The caseload was 431 today, 16 of which were imported. 13 students and 6 teachers tested positive. They were all from different schools, and health authorities believe they did not catch the virus on campus. There were also 11 additional deaths aged from 72 to 95. This takes the city's death toll in the 5th wave to 9,054. Beijing has begun mass testing its residents for COVID amid a spike in cases. People in Chaoyang district have been ordered to go through 3 tests this week. 46 of the 70 cases discovered in the capital since Friday belong to this area. Panic buying has also begun, with residents fearing they could be locked down like Shanghai. Meanwhile, woes continue for the financial hub. The city reported over 19,000 cases and 51 additional deaths from yesterday. In other news, Hong Kong's largest bus company has doubled down on its pledge to fight roadside pollution. KMB has rolled out another 16 electric single-deckers, and it's hard to miss them on the streets. Maisie Mock explains.
While there's no mistaking its iconic red buses roaming the roads of Hong Kong, KMB's latest addition to its fleet may confuse some commuters and even enthusiasts. Meet its next-generation zero-emission bus, which is easily identified by the electric green livery. Produced by mainland carmaker BYD, the first batch of 16 single-deckers will ply the number 6 routes between Tsim Sha Tsui and Lai Chi Kok. Each bus can carry up to 81 passengers, a 16% improvement from the previous model. It can cover 200 kilometers on a full charge, which takes 1 hour and 14 minutes, 2 hours shorter than before.
The driving range of this bus has been improved by about 20 kilometers. So the reason behind is the new systems that have been employed. One of them is the new battery management system that is assisted by water cooling. So it can ensure high performance of our battery system and together with a longer life.
Even though electric buses cost up to 40% more than their diesel counterparts, the company insisted it is determined to switch to green energy. It expects around 80 electric buses to go into service next year, rising to 500, or 1/8 of its fleet, by 2025. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Overseas now, French President Emmanuel Macron has defeated right-wing rival Marine Le Pen to secure a second term in office. He vowed to govern for everyone in an increasingly divisive country. Sarah Wong reports.
Surrounded by supporters waving national and European Union flags, Emmanuel Macron became the first sitting French president in 2 decades to be re-elected. The 44-year-old clinched 58% of the vote in the runoff against his longtime political rival, right-wing leader Marine Le Pen of the National Rally.
Merci.
Thank you, dear compatriots, for placing your trust in me to preside over the Republic for the next 5 years, Macron told a jubilant crowd. But with a smaller margin of victory this time around, Macron vowed to address the grievances of those who didn't vote for him. Despite losing to the man she called arrogant for a second time, The atmosphere in Le Pen's campaign headquarters remained upbeat. While conceding defeat, the 53-year-old tried to put a positive spin on the outcome, thanking the 41% of voters. Never has France's nationalist movement come this close to power since the Second World War. It may be third time unlucky, but Le Pen may not have given up her presidential ambitions yet. She remains well positioned to mount a fourth challenge for the top office in 5 years' time, when she will turn 58, while Macron must step down under current rules. Despite Macron's historic win, turnout was disconcertingly low, with 28% of voters choosing to abstain. More than a third of registered voters refused to support either candidate in the runoff. All eyes are now on June's parliamentary elections, at which Le Pen and left-wing heavyweight Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who's favored by young voters, hope to defeat Macron's party. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
In a renewed show of solidarity, America's top diplomat and defense chief traveled to Kyiv for talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and pledged extra aid to the country. Sarah Wong again.
Following in the footsteps of other Western leaders, the United States reassured its commitment to Ukraine since it was invaded by Russia 2 months ago. In a significant gesture, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin paid a visit to the war-torn country. The Americans told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in a highly confidential meeting that Washington would continue to increase military assistance to Kyiv.
The first step in winning is believing that you can win. And so they believe that we can win. We believe that they can win if they have the right equipment, the right support. And we're going to do everything we can, continue to do everything we can to ensure that that gets there.
The White House has pledged to provide more than $300 million in military financing to help Ukraine gear up for an intense battle in its east and south. It also approved the sale of ammunition to the tune of $165 million and a secretive new drone system named Phoenix Ghost. With Russia shelving its plan to conquer Kyiv for now, American diplomats will start returning to Ukraine, although the reopening of the U.S. embassy remains uncertain. But to Ukraine's disappointment, Washington reiterated that it will not send in U.S. troops to fight the Russians. It also would not heed Zelensky's call to implement a no-fly zone to protect civilians. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
The Hang Seng Index plunged 3.7% to its lowest mark in more than a month as COVID lockdowns on the mainland continue to worry investors. Mainland stocks took a toll on Hong Kong as the Shanghai Composite Index fell 5.1%. Hotpot chain Hai Di Lao plunged nearly 16%. Tech stocks also tumbled, with Alibaba dropping 5.5% and Tencent down 3.9%. A look at the markets now. The Hang Seng Index fell down 769 points. Top 10 active stocks, the Tencent was down $13.20. Tracker Fund down 68 cents. Meituan down $2.80. Alibaba down $4.80. CCB down 14 cents. AIA down $3.25. To foreign exchange rates, it's 8.43 to the euro, 10 to the British pound, and 6.15 to the Canadian dollar. In UK markets, the UK FTSE is down 139 points. Social media company Twitter is reportedly close to sealing a deal with Elon Musk. If it goes through, the world's richest man would take the influential platform private.
After serving him a poison pill earlier this month, Twitter's board of directors now seem to be pondering a U-turn on Elon Musk's offer to buy the company. The 11-member entity was said to be negotiating with the world's richest man into the early hours of this morning. The change of heart comes from increasing pressure from shareholders to consider Musk's over $43 billion bid his best and final offer. The Tesla founder first launched the hostile takeover attempt on April 14th, which was not met with open arms. The board retaliated with a so-called poison pill the following day, a limited duration shareholder rights plan which dilutes Musk's stake. But Musk updated his proposal last week, revealing how he would secure funds for his bid. That included lending $13 million from the likes of Morgan Stanley and others, borrowing $12.5 billion against his own equity holdings and $21 billion from his own pocket. This brings the total he secured to $46.5 billion. With over 83 million followers on the platform, the eccentric billionaire is one of the world's most influential tweeters. But his relationship with the platform was rocky long before this latest saga. He's been in trouble with U.S. securities regulators over his tweets on market activity, and he's been outspoken on his dissatisfaction with Twitter's content moderation policy. 10 days before he launched his bid, he announced he had bought a 9.2% stake on the company, but refused to join its board.
Finally, a look at the weather. Tomorrow will be mainly fine and hot with isolated showers in the morning. Temperatures will range between 26 and 32 degrees. The fine and hot weather will continue on Wednesday and Thursday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Thanks for watching. Good night.